Tonight on NewsWatch, possible changes to charitable giving tax breaks, what that could mean for nonprofits and how they're fighting back.
Plus, the president's education plan, the latest on his call to make preschool more available.
And how Israel is planning for the president's upcoming visit. All this and more tonight on NewsWatch. Good evening on this Valentine's Day. I'm Mark Martin.
And I'm Wendy Griffith. Well, the most heartbreaking tax reform of all could be if Washington decides to kill or cap the deduction for charitable giving.
As heads of charities from all over the nation told Congress today, the only people likely to get hurt are the poor, the hungry, and the suffering needy.
Paul Strand brings us tonight's top story from Capitol Hill.
President Obama keeps proposing limits on the charitable deduction, selling it as one way to cut off a tax break for the rich. But these dozens of people come to testify on Capitol Hill say the only cutting off will be of charity to folks who desperately need it.
Feeding hungry children, eradicating disease, building cancer centers, these aren't loopholes for the rich. These are solutions for our community.
Council on Foundations President Kevin Murphy spoke of how charitable giving by the wealthy McGlynn family in his hometown has had a direct impact on him and his twin 17-year-old sons.
They are the beneficiaries of the McGlynn's generosity in establishing the cancer center because their mother, my wife, is still alive 7 years after having been diagnosed with cancer and treated at the McGlynn Regional Cancer Center. Cancer survivors and their families are the beneficiaries of the charitable deduction.
Some 30 to 40 million Americans use the deduction, many of them far from wealthy. And research shows many will cut their giving to charities if the deduction's cut.
It's really not a tax on the wealthy. It's as much as a transfer to government of the money that would have gone to nonprofit organizations.
In a nation that gives some $300 billion every year, cuts could have a devastating effect.
Estimates are that the reduction in charitable giving could be anywhere from $5.5 to $6 billion a year just by capping the charitable deduction alone.
Brian Gallagher estimates the cost to his United Way nationwide.
$100 million. That's like wiping out the United Ways in Philadelphia and in Cleveland.
Vincent Ferris with Meals on Wheels says charities like his can keep seniors and shut-ins healthier much longer, reducing costs to government programs like Medicare and Medicaid.
People that are getting good nutrition, well-fed, the chances of them being admitted to the hospital through emergency room or what have you are going to be greatly reduced. We know that we can feed a person for a year on Meals on Wheels and what it costs a day in a hospital.
But some in government figure the charitable deduction costs Washington $38 billion a year, and they're greedy to get some of it. Paul Strand, CBN News, Washington.
Joining us now is Dan Busby. He's the president of the Evangelical Council for Financial Accountability, a group that works with Christian nonprofits. Mr. Busby, thanks for being with us.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
Now, Dan, what are the chances that Congress could actually eliminate or alter the charitable deduction?
Well, in December, just a couple of months ago, it was very much on the table, but we survived the challenges in December, and today's hearing by the House Ways and Means Committee again raises the issue of whether current charitable gift incentives should be retained in their present form.
Now, there's talk about dropping the deduction for wealthier taxpayers, but aren't they some of the ones who give the most to charity simply because it cuts down on their taxes?
Absolutely. The data shows that the wealthiest taxpayers in America are the most generous, and so a reduction in current charitable gift incentives would be detrimental to the very individuals who give charities the most.
Well, what kind of impact would it have on American charities and their ability to help the needy if the deduction is eliminated?
Well, study after study has shown that organizations would be detrimentally affected by a reduction in the charitable giving incentives because many donors simply give more when there's more of an incentive to give. And so the bottom line is those that are served by charities across America, whether it be food kitchens or rescue missions or in a variety of ways, they would simply be able to provide less services to those who need it the most.
If charities do see their funds decline, wouldn't that make even more Americans dependent on the government? And is that what liberals ultimately want?
Well, it would result in a shifting of services to government, but at the same time, the government is not able to take care of the needs of the poor and disadvantaged and others who are served by so many charities across America. And so many of the services would just go wanting.
Is there any advantage at all for cutting the charitable giving deduction?
Well, though some of those in Congress would say that it would provide more funds to the federal government, but the drain on resources that would come about because there would be more unserved individuals in our country, I believe would more than offset that. And so we take a very strong position that the current charitable and giving incentives should be retained. In fact, we believe that now is not the time to decrease charitable giving incentives, but it is the time to increase those incentives.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Dan Busby, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Democratic Majority Leader Harry Reid is calling a Republican-led full-scale filibuster of Chuck Hagel shocking and tragic. A vote on the Secretary of Defense is expected Friday, and Democrats hold a 55-45 edge over the Republicans. But it takes 60 votes to end debate and hold a vote. Some Republicans, like Senator Lindsey Graham, are suggesting they'll block it. Graham says he wants President Obama to answer questions about his activities on the night of the September 11th attack in Benghazi that left 4 Americans dead. According to Reid, there has never been a filibuster of a Secretary of Defense. The Senate Intelligence Committee has postponed a vote to confirm John Brennan as CIA director. The vote was scheduled to take place today. Committee members are requesting the White House provide more information on its drone program. Brennan has come under fire for his support of the controversial drones program. Senator Dianne Feinstein said the committee needs to see more classified legal opinions justifying use of the deadly drones. The senators are also demanding more details about last September's attack on the U.S. consulate in Libya. The vote is now expected to take place later this month.
President Obama took up the issue of education today, unveiling a proposal to provide universal preschool to children in America. But can he sell his plan to skeptical Republican lawmakers? George Thomas has more.
The White House plan calls for the government to partner with states to provide preschool funding for all 4-year-olds in America from low and moderate income families.
Education has to start at the earliest possible age, and that's what you have realized here in Decatur.
Mr. Obama made the pitch for his plan during a visit to a preschool in Georgia. As part of the initiative, the president also wants to expand the Head Start program to include toddlers and infants.
Study after study shows that the earlier a child begins learning, the better he or she does down the road. But here's the thing, we are not doing enough to give all of our kids that chance.
The education proposal doesn't have a price tag yet, but the plan would be funded with federal matching dollars for families who earn at or below 200% of the poverty line. States that expand preschool slots for middle-class families will also get extra government money. But critics of the plan say states or private programs could spend the money and run the preschool programs more efficiently than the federal government. Meanwhile, Republican lawmakers are uneasy about an expanded federal role in pre-K. The president's plan will require congressional approval. George Thomas, CBN News.
Dr. Carlos Campo is the president of Regent University. He's also on the board of Smart Beginnings Hampton Roads, a local group that advocates for early childhood educations. Dr. Campo, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thanks, Wendy. Great to be here.
Well, as an educator, do you think preschool is an important aspect in a child's development?
It is. Almost all the research shows that preschool is a critical part. Those minds are forming so rapidly at that point that students who are engaged early on, teacher-focused, good instruction going on, they'll do better later on.
Well, do you think this is an opportunity to even out the playing field for underprivileged children, or is this a federal overreach?
You know, I think it has aspects of both. I mean, frankly, it's quite clear that this achievement gap that the president is concerned about really begins to widen after kindergarten and not so much before. And there is clearly a direct link between preschool and what we're looking at. But I think you also want to make sure that you know what is being taught to ensure that that really does close the achievement gap.
What setbacks do you see for a push like this? this?
Well, I think one setback is how will the money be spent? I'd like to say that I'm confident that the federal government is going to spend it wisely, that the education given to these young minds is going to be fruitful, but I'm not sure that there'll be a lot of moral education going on, and I'm concerned that there may be too much money spent on an effort like this that may not have the rewards that we'd really like to see.
Dr. Campo, do you feel the money this will take would be better spent in other ways to help low-income children?
Well, it's always the proof is in the pudding, in a sense, Wendy, right? I think if we knew that the kind of education, the top-level education that could happen with this money, I would say that would be a great spend. As an educator, I always think that education is a terrific investment. So I think more than any other single thing, I'd like to see this money, frankly, given to local area groups so that parents really could be part of the decision makers here, because I think parents know best the kind of education that would shape their child's future. So if localities get this money, and it's not the federal government imposing the kind of teaching that should be occurring, then I would favor it.
I know it's kind of controversial about how early a child should go into preschool. Do you think 2 years old is okay maybe for some children, but not for all children?
I do think a parent has to be responsive. There are two sides to this issue. I think if the environment is right, if it's a rich environment where the child really can be express fully who they are, great. But I wouldn't want it to be too structured. Let kids be kids, too.
All right, Dr. Carlos Campos, president of Regent University. Thanks so much for your insights.
Thanks, Wendy.
Illinois moved a step closer today to becoming the 10th state to legalize gay marriage. The state Senate voted this afternoon to approve a same-sex marriage bill. The measure now moves to the Illinois House, which is more divided on the issue. Gay activists are also promoting same-sex marriage in Rhode Island. A Senate committee there is considering a bill passed by the Rhode Island House last month. Governors in both states say they'll sign a gay marriage bill.
Coming up, how the entertainment industry is impacting culture's view of singleness and sex.
CBNNews.com. News you want, when you want, 24/7. Stay current with up-to-the-minute stories.
Efrem Graham, CBN News, New York.
I don't have to wait for my news anymore. CBNNews.com at your fingertips all day long.
I only watch the stories I want to see.
I find the story, I click on it, and boom, I'm there.
Embassy in Washington, Eric Stackelbeck, CBN News.
The source for your news, CBNNews.com.
It's probably something I've had for many years, and every year the PSA would be a little higher. I just kept kind of ignoring it. You know, one of those guy things. It'll go away. It'll go away. Finally, one day, Janet says, "You're going to the doctor." They did a blood test. My PSA was 14. I needed to get a second opinion, so we contacted Cancer Treatment Centers of America.
To find out more about Cancer Treatment Centers of America and our unique treatment options for complex and advanced stage cancer, go to cancercenter.com.
The really great thing is that you just go online, and if you have prostate or lung cancer or whatever, you can see what their survival rates are.
You can also check for participating insurance plans. Cancer Treatment Centers of America is different. You feel it the moment you call or walk into one of our hospitals. It's state-of-the-art medicine, unique treatment options, and a level of compassion that cannot be copied. Why? Our people. People who give you not only their expertise, but their humanity and the most thoughtful, well-organized, patient-centered care you'll find anywhere.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America go way beyond what normal hospitals do. I knew that they had the technology to take care of my cancer. It's a device called Calypso.
Calypso is GPS for the prostate. We're able to get 4-dimensional real-time tracking of prostate movement during radiation treatment.
It eliminates a lot of my side effects. It makes sense. It just makes sense. I own a deli. I'm back at work. My customers come in and say, "Gosh, you look good." And some of them say I look better now than I did before I left. I didn't expect to learn a lesson about how to treat people by being in a hospital. You can tell when somebody really cares.
Every minute counts when you're fighting complex or advanced stage cancer. So please call or visit cancercenter.com today. Appointments are available now. Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Care that never quits.
Some disturbing new statistics from the Centers for Disease Control. Two major studies released Wednesday report that the U.S. faces an ongoing and severe sexually transmitted disease epidemic. More than 19 million new infections are reported every year. That's up from 15 million back in 1996. Half of the new STD cases affect people ages 15 to 24. Every year, more than $16 billion goes towards treating STDs. Well, a new online survey shines some light on singles and sex. According to the survey done for Match.com, this is what singles are saying about their sexual behavior. 42% say they would not date a virgin. 47% report having a friends with benefits relationship. 44% of women and 63% of men have had one-night stands. And almost a third say they've had sex by the third date, almost half by the sixth date.
For more on this, we're joined now by family therapist Dr. Linda Mental. Linda, what is behind this casual view of sex?
Well, there are so many things that have impacted it in our culture that we've seen a lot of changes in the culture which have to do with changes then in our attitudes and beliefs. You can cite everything from the legalization of abortion to economic equality of women because they don't have to depend on men as often, to I think one of the biggest sources has been the media. People in our culture consume a lot of media, particularly young people, and the messages of prime time, I call it the gospel hour of sexuality because the messages are all about casual sex. And if you have a different view, you're mocked, you're made fun of, and you really won't see any kind of view in a storyline in prime time where someone actually overcomes their sexual appetites and waits for sex and marriage.
Well, what are the consequences of this kind of behavior? Obviously, we're dealing with very serious consequences.
We've got what's estimated by the CDC, an estimate of 16 million people every year. Oh, it's 20 million. Actually, it's higher than that. 20 million every year contact a new sexually transmitted infection, which the CDC has estimated means 110 million people in the United States are walking around with a sexually transmitted infection. Then you start to add the economic cost to that. And the estimate is that we spend $16 billion a year in our healthcare budget just to treat the direct consequences of those medical conditions. And then, of course, we're not even beginning to talk about the psychological, the emotional, the relational consequences, and obviously the spiritual consequences, because sex was not intended to be casual. It was meant to be inside of a marriage. And the fallout from casual sex is something you're not going to see, but I see it every day in my office with people, dealing with anxiety, depression, feeling like they've been used. And unfortunately, one of the things about casual sex is once you give yourself away to another person, you can't really take that part back. And the fallout of that and what it does to future relationships is just huge.
Well, how as Christians can we work to help change the culture's view of sex and relationships?
We have to create a culture of truth where we start to talk about what is true. There are so many lies associated with casual sex. So beginning to tell the truth, beginning to attack those lies and having conversations, helping people understand what true intimacy is about, and that true intimacy is actually a biblical intimacy, and the consequences of that are phenomenal and fabulous when sex is done in an intimate relationship as part of that relationship, not just as a physical act. So churches need to be talking about this with their young people. They need to be engaging in the culture and looking at those storylines in prime time and having conversations with youth and singles about, is this the way that a Christian could think? Because honestly, if you look at the statistics again on the amount of people who go to church attendance is way down. People are not reading their Bible, and a lot of people do not know what the Bible says about truth and what that whole culture of the truth and having faith, how that would impact their views on sexuality.
Dr. Linda Mental, very timely information on this Valentine's Day. As always, thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Up next, Israel preps for President Obama's first visit since taking office.
hurt. My feet hurt, your feet hurt. White hot pain, I wanna cry. Is there anything I can try?
Why, yes! Introducing Strut Soul Angels, the human shock absorber that helps alleviate foot pain.
The first 10 steps in the morning to the bathroom were excruciating. Within 3 days after I put Struts on, it's been such a relief.
Slipped it on and almost immediately I felt a support, kind of like a pillow underneath my arches.
The Struts Soul Angel provides a great amount of relief and support throughout the course of the day, providing shock absorption and relief of pain.
On your feet without proper support can be painful. Strut Soul Angels promotes better balance, control, and body alignment. Standing in your heels all day is painful, but slip on Struts and you'll enjoy comfort and support 24/7. Struts is so versatile, you'll wear them in every shoe you own, even barefoot.
I'm on my feet all the time. I teach 11 and 12-year-olds. The pain was so much that I knew I had to do something. And with the Struts, I can do my job and enjoy my job.
I usually am on my feet from 8 to 12 hours a day. When I wear my Struts, it's like giving my feet a hug all day.
It's life-changing. I wear them from the minute I get up to the minute I go to bed.
Why pay $400 for custom orthotics?
Now get Strut Soul Angels for just $10. You also get Miracle Foot Repair Cream, absolutely free. Use it to help relieve dry, calloused feet overnight. But wait, call right now and we'll double the offer free. Just pay separate processing and handling. Plus, you get a 100% money-back guarantee. If not completely delighted, send it back. But keep the foot cream as our gift just for trying. You get it all. A $70 value for just $10.
Oh, yes! Love my Struts, love my Struts. The best thing since sliced bread. They heal pain from toes to head. Get yours now, your doctor said.
Struts. Be nice to your feet. Call now.
Call 1-800-787-1580 and get your Struts and Miracle Foot Repair for just $10 and we'll double the offer. That's 1-800-787-1580 or visit getstruts.com.
Congress is calling on Secretary of State John Kerry to seek the immediate release of an American pastor imprisoned in Iran. Pastor Saeed Abedini is facing a lengthy prison sentence there because of his Christian faith. Today, more than 80 bipartisan members sent a letter urging Kerry to exhaust every option. It states Saeed deserves every diplomatic tool in defense of his basic human rights as an American citizen. Jordan Sekulow of the American Center for Law and Justice calls the effort significant in protecting a U.S. citizen from incredible torture and life-threatening punishment.
After 5 years in office, President Obama will pay his first visit to Israel next month. The state visit comes at a stormy time in the relationship between the two countries. Chris Mitchell has tonight's Focus Report from Jerusalem.
The president's visit will be a busy one, given the number of threats and concerns facing Israel.
The three things that both the White House and the Prime Minister's office are stressing before the visit is, number one, Iran, number two, Syria, number three, the Palestinians. I think another issue that's going to come up is obviously Egypt, which is a huge topic right now and a huge concern. I think they're also going to talk about, Jordan and also other regional developments.
During Obama's first term, his relationship with Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu hit a number of bumps in the road.
It's been a rocky road, both with the Prime Minister and with the Israeli public. I think that in the very beginning, when Obama came out and called for a blanket settlement freeze everywhere, including in Jerusalem, while at the same time not making similar demands on the Palestinians, I think that was seen by many Israelis as an unreasonable demand.
I hope he's coming to warm up the relationship that I think by anybody's estimation has been a bit chilly, unnecessarily.
Former Governor Mike Huckabee told CBN News he hopes Obama does more than just make up with America's longtime ally.
What we need is a relationship that is red hot. It needs to be inseparable. We need to say to the rest of the world, people who believe in freedom and individual liberty, we stick together because we have so much in common.
Number one on that list is the common threat of a nuclear Iran. Huckabee also hopes Obama makes that the priority instead of pressuring Israel with the Palestinians.
I would hope he's not coming here to ask them to do something that they've been willing to do. The Israelis have been more than willing to come to the peace table talks, but they can't come if the Palestinians refuse to believe that the Israelis even have a right to exist.
Kanan says Israelis have been wary of Obama, but expects them to give him a second chance.
the Israeli public is not stupid, right? The Israeli public realizes that Israel has no better friend in the world than the United States of America. President Obama is the leader of the United States of America, so you're gonna make it work. It's important for it to work.
Obama will only have 3 days to make it work before he takes off for Jordan. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Up next, showing love for our American heroes, the groups that are giving wounded warriors a new lease on life.
Listen up for an amazing offer that can change the way you hear.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Can you repeat that?
Frustrated with your hearing?
What did he say?
Well, hear better now. Introducing the fully rechargeable MSA 30X, a revolutionary device that features the latest microsound amplification technology that can barely be seen. Independently tested to help you hear up to 30 times better. It turns ordinary hearing into extraordinary hearing. MSA 30X works by capturing and amplifying sound waves, yet its lightweight ergoacoustic design is discreet. It form-fits in and around either ear.
I forget I'm even wearing it.
And MSA 30X is powerful. Hear clearly in restaurants. Never miss another word on TV or at the movies.
My wife complains that I have the volume up on the TV too loud.
And I didn't want to be in the same room with them.
Now I can hear everything clearly.
Simply adjust the volume as you desire. Other units use so many batteries and they're difficult to change. But the MSA 30X is completely rechargeable. Simply plug it into the wall.
I tried other devices that had batteries, but they were always such a pain to change and so costly. But this is rechargeable, so I figure I save hundreds a year.
Bulky sound amplifiers can cost hundreds, but try MSA 30X for just $59.95 and we'll include a cleaning brush and 5 comfort tips. But wait, in this special TV offer, we'll cut the price in half. Now you can hear up to 30 times better for just $29.95. But there's even more. We'll double the offer free. Just pay additional processing and handling. Wear them both or give one to a loved one. Did you hear that? That's 2 MSA 30Xs for just $29.95. The MSA 30X Hear Better Now offer. Get 2 for just $29.95.
All I can say is just try it. It could change your life.
To order the MSA 30X sound amplifier, call 1-800-535-0654. That's 1-800-535-0654. Or you can go to MSA30X.com. Call or go online now.
Well, a handful of severely wounded war vets are feeling the love today.
That's right. It's all thanks to a handful of veteran foundations and the sponsorship of actor Gary Sinise.
Having a home that can help make your life more independent, more manageable, give you a sense that you can do things for yourself, that's going to give them a sense of confidence and security.
The group announced today that 12 wounded warriors will receive their own smart home. The houses are custom built with amenities that are tailored to each vet's need. Many of the men lost multiple limbs in the field of combat, making daily life extremely difficult.
Counters are really high, reaching for stuff in cabinets, but all these homes take care of that. It takes one less thing off your mind, you don't really have to worry about building a house, paying for a house and all that stuff. So this is just, it helps you start a new chapter in your life.
Gary's foundation says not only have these men earned it, they deserve it. And they do deserve it, Winnie.
They sure do. What a special day. Well, happy Valentine's Day to you and to all of our viewers. I hope it's been a great day for everyone.
Yeah, you likewise, and everyone at home. Yeah.
Well, that's going to do it for this edition of NewsWatch.
Remember, you can email us your comments and questions at newswatch@cbn.com. Hope you'll join us next time. And once again, happy Valentine's Day.
Good night.